Hey ladies, I pray you all are doing well. I got a story to tell. Um that just so happened to rhyme. But I don't know where to start, Lord. So, long story short, there is a soldier out here who I definitely believe God has called me to. And God is showing me. I am being stretched in patience, understanding, empathy. But anyway, this particular soldier, she worries a lot. She complains a lot. She cries a lot. She lets people get to her. She's a people pleaser and things like that. So I'm going to be honest with y'all. When I meet strangers, I'm not that tough love Kenya. I'm not, because I don't want to scare people away. But when I'm with you for a while, it gets to a point. It's like, all right, sis, let me tell you what it is and what it ain't. And so I'm at that level with her right now. And so, she's a Christian, and it's more so not really seeking God first. It's a title, and she recognizes it as well. I tell her what I do, pray and stuff like that. I send her scriptures, and she was telling me, oh, continue to send me more. I was like, nah, sis, here go the Bible app. Come on, I got some plans we can do together. Let's do it. Because you're going to have to start, you got to start going after God yourself, basically. And she was like, yeah, I know. I miss going to church because of my pastor. He will always say the right things. I was like, even though you ain't going to church, the word got what you need. I'm gonna need you to download the Bible app and we can study the word together. And I've really been talking like that to her. Like, I even got to the point I be telling her, like, when she complains, like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I don't, and then she thinks of like the worst case scenarios, and they will not happen. It's like when I explain it to her, I'm like, what? How did your mind take a hole in the ground and turn it into a tornado? Not an earthquake, because of course that would make sense if a hole in the ground, whatever. No, a tornado. And y'all, I just been praying like, God, you gonna have to help me, because I'm gonna be honest, it gets annoying sometimes. So anyway, start y'all off with that. So really off topic, but it's gonna go back into topic. My husband texted me and he realized that I was using more of our family storage than he was. So I told him I was gonna purge my phone. So I'm down here in the basement today, and I'm going through my phone, purging my phone. And I used to journal in my notes back in 2017. So I found a note from 2020, actually, a journal entry from 2020 that really relates to what is going on right now. Excuse me, with me and this particular soldier. And before I found the note, and before I even was about to purge my phone, I was down here praying. I was like, God, I'm getting irritated. Like, I know you give me peace and strength, but I don't feel it right now. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I'm literally down here to not be in the room, because she's also my roommate. And anytime we get into the room, I can't go to sleep because it's like a complaint fest. And I had to call my husband and ask him, like, do I do this? Because if I do apologize. That's how bad it is, y'all. So I'm trying to meet people where they are. I really am. But anyway, back to the notes. So I found this note, and it was titled, Where Do I Begin? So I clicked on it and started reading. And I was like, dang, conviction, dang, you have to believe that God is working even when you feel like he's not. Because I'm going to be honest, how much I done poured into this girl so far since I've been out here, I'm like, is it even working? Like, is she even taking what I'm saying into consideration? So y'all may relate to this regarding like family members. You send them the verse, you pray for them and stuff like that, but it's like they not changing, or they not even trying for themselves. Like, it gets to the point they look at you like you're their God. Y'all, she even said when she was faced with a situation, she was like, I thought about what you said, and I was thinking, what would Kenya do? I was like, no, WWJD, what would Jesus do? Because everything Kenya telling you to do is what Jesus would do. Don't say what would Kenya do, because the fleshy Kenya could throw hands. However, Jesus taught Kenya how to put her hands together. But anyway, let me read y'all this. And I know it's God. I know God knew I was going to find this note. He was like, I'm not even about to tell you this because I already taught you this before. You just forgot. So it says, where do I begin, y'all? God is just an on-time God. I had gotten to the point of becoming tired due to constantly helping friends, family, strangers, etc. My heart was not something I created or molded for myself, but it was something God gave me. I care way more than I would like about people. And many times it's not reciprocated, and I dislike that. So many times the enemy has tried to whisper that people are just using me for what I carry and where I'm going. And I would constantly dwell on that thought. It had gotten so bad that I was contemplating changing my phone number and just breaking off communication with everyone around me. I went to church last Sunday, and the word wasn't really what I wanted or needed to hear. However, later that day, I was headed to a women's group that I was a part of at another church. I sat in my car and prayed that God would just give me a sign to not change my phone number or break all connections. And just a sidebar, during this time, King was the type who would run. Like, I'm cutting off connections. I contemplated changing my phone number so much because I just thought it was easier that way. Like, nobody ain't going to be able to contact me. Cool. Anyway, back to the story. I told God I was tired. I felt drained. And I felt that everyone had sucked the life out of me. I wasn't seeing growth in half the people I've been pouring into, and I was beginning to lose my peace and patience. So I told God I needed a sign, because I was 1 second away from changing my phone number that particular day or putting my phone on Do Not Disturb for a while. I walked into my women's group, and the theme was resting in God. We talked about resting in God and not making moves based on how we feel. We went around and talked about areas where we needed rest. I told the ladies about how I was tired of just constantly pouring out into people and how I just needed to be around people who would pour into me spiritually. Instead of a pity party, these women told me that those people who I'm surrounded by need me. They see something in me that they can't get from the world. They want to know what it is. They want to know about God, the God I serve. And the only way they can know about him is by me being consistent and committed to their growth. I don't have to allow myself to get drained. I can take a step back and ask God to refresh me, because his work is never done. But I should never aim to just disappear. They said God will definitely want me to grow so I can be able to pour into more people in the future. Because who will I pour into when I detach myself from people who need to hear God's word? So after leaving the meeting, I got a call from a friend. She was crying, and my mind immediately went to, oh Lord, here we go again. More for me to deal with. However, I combated that thought and let her talk. And when I say I was so glad she did, she was on the verge of committing suicide that day, and she had wrote 2 phone numbers down, mine and her brother's. She had told herself that if no one answered, that meant she wasn't truly cared for, and she was going to attempt suicide. But she was so happy I answered on the first ring. I was happy I answered on the first ring. I was happy I didn't put my phone on Do Not Disturb, nor did I change my number. She stated how she remembered when I went through my own depression and asked me how I got out of it. And when I tell you I was so happy to pour everything out that I had into her, just to let her know she meant something to God. She was meant to be here, that it wasn't by accident that she called me. God had to show me that we have to be strong for those around us, including those who are lost. Many times we are the only light people see in this dark world. As much as I wanted to get away, the heart God blessed me with wants to do his work more. I'm just so grateful that God is using me. I don't want him to stop using me no matter how tired my flesh might get. I know my spirit is willing to press on. Our work is never done. Get refreshed and finish the race God is calling you to. And remember, he will never put more on you than you can bear. He is calling up warriors, and he is looking for vessels willing to accept the call. Philippians 3:14. So yeah, I read that. And I know when we see people and we know people and we know how they are and we know, oh, they complain, oh, they worry a lot. But the mental, like the enemy comes for the mental. He comes for the mental. And when you're able to pour out a word that combats somebody's old way of thinking, to give them a new way of thinking, to show them a light in the dark. And even when it gets tired and annoying, I think about this. I didn't quickly grasp the concept of God's love because it didn't make sense to me. However, now I get it. And so I be talking and throwing it out like, you should just get this. But sometimes people can't grasp it because they haven't experienced it yet. And sometimes the first time that they might experience it is from your consistency, from your constant pouring out. from your constant showing love. And, even with her, she's always just so shocked at, how calm I am. And like I've told y'all before, I've been praying for peace and strength, and it ain't Kenya. But I know some things may get annoying. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, when you pray about it, God may tell you step back from some stuff. But I know God ain't telling me step back from this. And even during this time, I remember like it was yesterday when she called me and she was just crying because she called her brother and he didn't answer. She only wrote 2 numbers down. And so to me, that meant that I was consistent with her, even in the midst of me not wanting to be consistent. But she felt confident enough to write my number down and was so happy that I answered, because she said if nobody answered, that meant she wasn't cared for. And it amazes me how the enemy can sow a thought like that into an unbeliever's mind, but also come with a thought like, oh, people draining you, ain't nobody pouring into you, so cut it off. So he trying to do 2 different jobs. And we never know how that is affecting God's plan. Whew, y'all. But right now, sometimes the way we look at situations is so one-sided. We don't know what's going on in the supernatural. And I always pray for discernment now to know what's going on. And sometimes, even if I don't know what's going on, I'm constantly praying for this soldier and things like that. And sometimes I'm like, God, I don't think it's working, but it's layers to some stuff. Sometimes it takes years. For some people, it could take a day. But are you still willing to do the work, no matter how long it may take somebody to grasp that? That's all I got, y'all. Y'all take what y'all want from this. I just pray that blesses y'all. Don't give up. Continue to pray for your friends, your family, strangers you may come in contact with. Don't just say I'm gonna pray for you. Even get to the point where you pray for them right there. That shocks people. That right there shocks people, because you meant what you said. So when you want to quit, tell God to restore you, give you rest, and also say, God, hey, what you want me to do? Should I let it go? Because he's not gonna. If God tells you to let that person go, understand this: God can send somebody else who he has equipped to handle that person, or sometimes God let them have their own experience. So, just pray about everything. Seek God for rest. When you feel like you're about to start operating in the flesh, continue to pray for those people. And just remember, somebody was patient with you. I had, when I was young, women who poured into me. And I'll be darned if I'll be up here acting like I'm just wise on my own. Y'all, the old Kenya from the 4 Wall Projects used to throw hands. I remember when I got saved and I was really trying. And I'm going to end with this. I got saved and I was really trying. And we had moved to Memphis. And for some reason, a lot of Memphis folks just think they hard. And moved to the suburbs. And this girl wanted to fight me. Just to fight me. No, it wasn't just to fight me. She was messing with my brother. And Monique could attest to this. I told her, I said, I don't want to fight you because I'm a Christian. Because I thought that was going to work. I was like, I'm trying to do good. I want to go to heaven. And this is like when I first started knowing Jesus. I was like, I'm a Christian and I'm not trying to fight you. And, she was like, what the frick? Like, that don't matter. Like, I don't care. And I was like, Lord, I tried. And then I beat her. And I repented. But even during that time, I still had some growing to do. Because during that time, I really thought, me saying that and telling people who I was me doing good. Y'all, pray. Somebody pray for me because I'm better than what I was. But I just think back to how I used to be. Somebody poured into me. I got on my mama nerves. And she, my mama ain't kick me out her house or change her phone number. Like, I could call my mama now. So just those moments where you get tired, just remember somebody got tired of you, but they didn't give up on you. I know Jesus, he don't get tired of us, and I don't know how that's possible, but he ain't giving up on us, y'all. And he just calls us to continue to be a light in a dark world for people. So I pray that bless y'all. I got my answer through an old journal prompt. I believe this was 2019 or 2020, one of them. But, man, God, like I already taught you this lesson, and boom, I just prayed for this, and God was like, read this. But that's all I got, y'all. I pray that bless y'all. Love y'all.